order. May I ask, would you like, gentlemen, let y'all come in and sit down, please come have a seat. If anybody has not signed up yet to speak, you will need to sign up before you may speak tonight. And I have the sheets here, so as everyone signed up, who wants to speak?
Well, somebody's coming in who wants to speak.
Who wants to speak?
Yes.
I need your name and your home because it is a minute after the meeting starts, so actually it's too late.
Okay. My husband wants to speak. He's coming.
All right, I'll be very late tonight.
He's little. He's like right up.
All right, what item would you know, what agenda item would you like to speak on?
Number 4.
Number 4, all right, we'll come up here and sign in.
You want me to sign in for him? I can do that. Thank you. I'm so sorry. He's picking up our other kids from there.
Oh, it's all right. Somebody's already signed up, then that's fine. Thank you.
For your patience, I appreciate it.
All right, it is now time to call our meeting of the Bulloch County Planning and Zoning Commission to order. I'd like to welcome all visitors here and any media who may be present. I would also like to remind anyone who's got your cell phone, please turn it silent. For courtesy all in here, we can conduct business in a more efficient manner. We will begin with an invocation and pledge of allegiance from Mr. Charles Shannon.
Let us pray. Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this country we live in. Thank you for this state and this community. Father, we pray you continue to bless this county, to honor you with all we do. Pray for this meeting tonight, that we would do what this board would do, what's best for all concerned. We know we can't please everybody, but we pray that we would do the right thing and that you would give us guidance. We ask you continue to bless our community as we move forward into this rest of this year, and that you continue to bless our farmers as they go into the harvest season, that we'll have a bountiful harvest. We love you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. You salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Things we need to take care of. One of which is we want to introduce our newest member of Planning and Zoning Board, Mr. Matt Lovett. Welcome you tonight. This is his first meeting. All right. We would also like to have you look to your right, my left, and you'll notice there are 2 clocks on the wall. For those who may not have ever been here before, we give each side 10 minutes to speak on their item that they're coming for and against. So that clock will run, it'll be started from over here. And so if there's someone behind you who would like to speak, just remember that you may take up all their time, and we'd like to hear new items from everyone who can. All right, we will start with the invocation. We'll start with the approval or the amendment of the minutes from the last meeting.
Motion.
Got a motion to approve?
Yes.
Is there a second? There's a second. All those in favor? The minutes are approved as written. All right, item number 1. Nathaniel Lundy has applied to rezone 1.4 acres, R40, which is a 40,000 square foot, to R2, which is a residential 15,000 square foot lot, for the purpose of adding 2 duplex or 2 family dwellings to the property. The property is located on Miller Street Extension, and Mr. Lundy will be acting as his own agent. And this is, again, we are a recommending board for legislative actions, and one of those is a rezone and conditional uses. So any items on the agenda that fall into that category will be heard for a final decision on September 2nd, 5:30 in this room. All right. With that, Mr. Pope.
Madam Chair, Ms. Mary Deloach will
do the presentation tonight.
All right, Ms. Leach.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we have Nathaniel Lundy, who has applied to rezone 1.4 acres from R40 to R2. The property, for the purpose of adding 2 duplexes to the property. It is located on Miller Street Extension, and it is currently 1 lot. Here is the property, which is northwest of Statesboro, and it is in a suburban neighborhood character area, as shown on the map.
Can you pull the mic a little bit closer?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Here is the zoning map, which shows that it is R40. Here is a photo of the aerial of the parcel. Here is the site plan. Down here is where he plans to put the 2 additional duplexes. Here's a photo of within the property. And then this is to the west of the property, to the east of the property, to the south of the property. And here's some additional photos. This shows the entrance into the mobile home park, which is also within the parcel. And then here are some other photos within the parcel. And the staff recommends approval of the rezone with conditions, and the conditions are listed in the staff report.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Lundy? Is Mr. Lundy here?
Which one does
This case was deferred last month because the applicant was not present. We did attempt to contact the applicant, and it's my understanding we have not been able to get a hold of him. So I don't think he's here tonight, obviously. So I think on the recommendation of County Attorney Akins, this board, since we've deferred it once, you really need to take a vote on it and pass it along, whether, whatever that vote is. I don't think there's any requirement that the applicant be here in person, so we can't necessarily disqualify it, so.
All right, since the applicant is not here and there's no one to speak up for or against him, is there any discussion from this board?
There's no one to ask the questions to.
One question.
All right, yes, sir, Mr.
Before, is there all the requirements required? You met all the requirements?
Is there 3 conditions that he'd have to agree to?
We had a few conditions. I think probably the major expense one would be paving the road, which this subdivision, as shown on the site plan, mobile home park was created, I believe, in the 80s. But so when it developed, if it was developed today, that road would have to be paved anyway. So we felt like if you're adding 2 additional units, or really 4 additional units, bring that road up to standard for the mobile home park, manufactured home park standard as well. So I do believe it meets the condition or the requirements of how the lot should be laid out. We just have a few conditions that we wanted to suggest.
Is he aware of these conditions, or you have no way to know?
I mean, we've sent the staff report in our normal way, but I don't, just kind of they applied and
But
we
with
haven't
no
heard, so.
response from him, that makes it difficult for us.
I'm gonna make a motion to deny.
There's a motion to deny. Is there a second from Mr. Bath? All those in favor of denial? That is unanimous. We are going to recommend denial to the county commissioners on September 2nd. Item number 2. Kelly and Julie Kessler have submitted an application for a sketch plan to divide 35.12 acres into 6 residential lots. The property is located on Shearhouse Landing Road and Old River Road South.
Unanimous vote on that one.
Who? On the first one.
That motion's okay, unanimous.
We got it unanimous. That's it. All right, Ms. Loach.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we have Kelly and Julie Kessler who have submitted this application for a sketch plan. It is currently 35 acres, and they are wanting to divide it into 6 parcels. It is zoned Ag 5. Then here is a picture of where it is located. So it is located over to the east of Statesboro, towards the end of the county line. And then here is the zoning map, which shows that both parcels are zoned Ag 5. And here's the aerial of the parcel. And here is a copy of the sketch plan. And Ms. Lauren Groover will be speaking as agent, and the staff does recommend approval of the sketch plan.
All right, we have no one signed up to speak for or against. Ms. Groover, if you'll come forward.
Madam Chair, if I might, being a sketch plan, this was not, there was not a public hearing associated with this. We did get a comment from our online comment portal about, I think there was some confusion whether this was a rezoning or not, but this was not a rezoning. It was a division of land, which is the minimum acreage size would be 5 acres, Ag 5, so there's no rezoning on this case. Just wanted to make sure I clarified that I know there was some confusion about that, not on this board, but in the public.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pope. All right, Ms. Groover.
Yes, we actually have spent a lot of time with Mr. Don Marsh trying to get everything lined up. And basically, they just want to put in the private road to access 5 of the lots 1 through 5, and then there is already access off of Old River Road for lot 6. And then we would be listing them, I would be listing them for resale. With the current stated covenants and restrictions and all that, there's no changes to any of that requested.
Mr. Pope, just ask a curious question. Those lots, is that considered a flag lot back there to access? Would you consider that a flag lot, or is that not?
So lot number 6 would remain a flag lot. I think they're basically taking out lot 5 of that parcel and giving it access on that private road. But it's currently platted as a flag lot. At some point, probably 3 or 4 years ago, around that Shear House Landing Road, those parcels that front Old River Road were split out in 5-acre tracts, which you can do in Ag 5. There was no roadway created then. You have to have at least 500 foot of road frontage to create a flag lot. And at the time it was split, it was parceled out. There was 2 adjacent flag lots created, that Shear House Development LLC, and then lot number, I'll say 5 and 6 currently, but what would be 6. So there would remain 2 flag lots with the property, and lot number 5 would access the private road.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
With it being 6 lots, does that not kick it into the paving? Getting by the paving with it being 5 off of the one.
Yeah, I really, I think it's better when, and this is nothing against the applicant, but, you know, when surveyors are able to just show what's going to be part of the subdivision. I don't think lot 6 would really be part of the subdivision because it's got its own road frontage. So I think you're really just looking at lots 1 through 5. But you got to show that it's going to create how many lots it would create, but only 5 on the roadway. So,
Any other questions from this commission, from Ms. Groover? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve the sketch plan as submitted. Is there a second? Mr. Chandler? All those in favor? Again, that is unanimous. All right, the
Thank
sketch
you.
plan is approved. Thank you, Mr. Item number 3 is a conditional use request. New South Development has submitted an application for a conditional use in order to construct self-storage units. The property is located at 9384 Highway 301 South. Ryan Portheris will be acting as the agent. Is that correct, Ms. Deloach?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. So New South Development has submitted an application for conditional use in order to construct these self-storage units. It will be located on Highway 301. And here is the location. It is located in the Employment District character area, and it is kind of southwest of Statesboro. Here is the current zoning map, which shows it's zoned highway commercial. And then here is the aerial of the parcel. Here is a copy of the sketch plan where it shows that they are wanting to put 3 storage unit buildings. And then here is a photo into the property. This is the front of the property. And the storage units are to go behind this. And here is over to the east, and then the west, and this is the south of the property. And Ryan is acting as agent, and the staff recommends approval of the conditional use with, with conditions, which are listed in the staff report.
Hi, Mr. Portheris.
Good evening. Thank you for hearing us. Ryan wasn't able to make it tonight, so I'll be filling in for him. My name is Nick McCall.
Nick McCall, for the record, thank you.
So I'll be able to answer any technical questions y'all may have. I guess looking at it, the property's already zoned appropriately for the storage units. We're just asking for the conditional use to be able to put them on there. The owner also owns the property above it, and what we're wanting to do is combine all of it together. So we're trying to get the conditional use before then. The parcel above it also has storage units on it, so it'll all be one thing. The new storage units will use the old office and security gate for entrance, and it'll use the same driveway and all too. So it'll be one storage unit facility basically.
And you're aware of the 2 conditions that the staff recommends?
We do request that they remove the paving condition. All the existing ground out there is gravel, and we kind of have a size constraint with our detention pond in the back, and changing the gravel to asphalt pavement will generate more stormwater runoff and require that pond to become bigger.
Is that something we can speak to from the county?
Well, I think in our staff review, multiple departments felt that, and we do have standards for mini storage warehouses, but I think primarily the fire department would prefer that they have it paved just for, I guess, to make sure that their fire trucks can hold up on the road, which we didn't extend the condition to the existing driveway. Maybe we should have to 301. I'm not sure. Maybe that's something for consideration, but I think countywide going forward, we would prefer paved lots for these types of developments. I mean, there's some that I think long-term, as well as for aesthetics, long-term, the product looks better for the community, but there is a practical reason, and that's being the fire department access primarily.
Would you also think it is a good idea to have it paved from the roadside to that front area? To add that condition or amend the condition?
I mean, I think it would make sense if we paved all the way to the back, but.
All right, are there any other questions here from this board for Mr. McCall?
Can the fire department get around this building? I'm just
That's something that we've already been made aware of. We have a way that we can make the drive aisles a little bit larger, and they will conform with code requirements.
If it's paved, you can do that?
I can do that even with gravel. And that is another question I had, James, actually. Are we required to pave it if the paving requirement isn't in the code of ordinances? Because I did see what you're referring to, the mini warehouses standards, and I didn't see asphalt paving on there.
Well, the trade-off is that you're asking for a conditional use, so that would be a condition that we're recommending for this property specific.
Are these units mini storage units or the whole building?
There's no access from the outside, so all access, they're mini storage units, yes, sir.
They're mini storage units?
Yes, sir.
So you're gonna have multiple people coming into each building?
From what I understand, yes, sir.
Okay.
So there's no comment here on how many units will be inside each building.
Off the top of my head, I don't know how many units are in them.
Those are some questions that might be a good idea to have answers to before the county commissioners meeting on September 2nd.
I do know that there were no worries about traffic impacts, so that's something to consider too.
Any other questions? If not, we'll entertain a motion for this conditional use.
Offer a motion that we accept it, we approve it with faith.
All right, do you want to add what Mr. Pope was suggesting?
Yes.
And I don't know how we can word that. Ms. Venus can word that.
Add condition 3 to pave it to the highway?
Pave it to the highway, condition. Or it could be added to, well, it's part of one,
Yeah,
whichever makes more sense.
It doesn't really make sense to pave the back section if we don't put an access road to it.
Yeah, and I think probably our initial thought was this is just the one parcel, but then I think that they would have to combine it for access, so, I mean, yeah. So the traffic circulation out to 301, we can add that in on
Okay,
on
add
the
it
condition
to
one.
condition one rather than adding a third condition, correct?
Yes.
All right, we have a motion to approve with the amended conditions. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a second from Mr. Bath? All those in favor of the conditional use, raise your right hand. All those opposed? That's unanimous. All right, we will recommend approval of county
Thank you.
commissions with those conditions. Item number 4. Kevin Kirsch, New Homes Incorporated, has submitted an application to rezone 19.53 acres, which is an Ag 5 acre area, to R80, which is an 80,000 square foot area, which is 2 acres, for the purpose of creating a subdivision. The property is located on 252 Pleasant Hill Road, and again, this is a rezone request and will be heard again for final determination on September 2nd. Ms. Deloach?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we have Kevin Kirsch, New Homes, who has submitted this application to rezone 19.53 acres from Ag 5 to R80. Here is where the parcel is located, which is right outside of Portal, and it is in a suburban neighborhood character area. And here is a photo of the zoning map, which shows that it is Ag 5. Here's the aerial of the parcel. And here is the site plan to show the 10 lots that they are proposing. Here are some photos into the parcel. And this is where it's proposed right in this section. Some additional photos. This is a photo looking into the parcel. Here's a photo to the west of the parcel, to the east, and then across the street. And the staff does recommend approval of the rezone with conditions, and the conditions are listed within the staff report.
All right, so Mr. Kirsch, Kevin Kirsch will be acting as agent, and we do have people signed up to speak on this agenda.
Okay. Like she said, I'm trying to take approximately 20 acres and zone it from Ag 5 to R80. I am aware of the conditions. We're talking about a paved road in there, open ditch, paved to Bulloch County specifications on there, individual wells, individual septic tanks on there. And the only thing I'm opposed to is one of the conditions, having a community well with fire force on it.
All right. There are several people signed up to speak. Are there any
Okay.
questions right now for Mr. Kirsch before the others speak?
I've got a question before we get any further. The sketch plan you submitted, you're asking for R80, but you're showing us 73,000 square foot lots, which is less than R80.
Right. There's provisions given, or I don't know the correct term for it, for having an open space, and James can probably explain it. But with the whole fire flow thing with the community well, I sent another sketch in here, I guess earlier today, that it basically just showed a 9-lot subdivision, all of the lots over 80,000 square feet. And I had sent the email earlier today as a concession if fire flow in a community well. And the only reason why the fire flow in the community well is that the preliminary numbers I'm getting is it's going to add $32,000 to $35,000 per lot to have that well put in, rather than having individual well, individual septic. And I am aware, I guess, that I could put one well in for 5 lots and another well in for 5 lots, which negates the EPD regulations, which would negate community well. But I would much rather, I guess, forget the 10th lot, go with the 9 lots that are all over 80,000 square feet, which I know those, I don't know if they have a copy of the sketch. I have a copy here, but that would be my proposal.
Is it too late to see, put that on the board to see it?
Do you have a copy of it?
If you have a copy, we can project it.
Doesn't matter if it's 8.5 by 11 or 11 by 17. Just thinking.
Do you have multiple copies? Or just?
Yeah, well, I mean, I just brought 2 sets, one overlay image. One's an overlay with a tax map, and the other one's just a regular plat.
All right, I'll send both ways. I'll do-
Might have to flip it.
James, could I ask a question when you get a second?
Rotate it.
Yeah, right. Rotate it.
You ready for me now? Yeah. Well, I didn't want to interrupt. With regard to the fire flow thing, how does, if this doesn't have community water and fire flow with fire hydrants, how does that affect the impact summary on EMS and fire? Would it move that from a neutral to a negative impact on the community because of, what do you think that would do?
While he's looking that up, what is the
Yeah.
general cost of individual wells and septics?
Pre-COVID or after COVID?
I'm afraid we live in an after-COVID generation
After COVID, they're running between $10,000 and $11,000
per lot.
individual. Yep. 10 or 11,000.
I think, most of our EMS and fire service is rooted in response times. So I don't know that, I think you could say that if it came in with I don't think it would really move it because, the response times are going to be what they are, and there is a fire station in Portal. And just to kind of open up about the
Take water and have a community well that provide fire and water for them is a lot of difference.
Yeah, and I think the fire department's justification is in the staff report, and there's a few houses that, as the tract parceled out, there was a few houses to the south that were built. But how, that was parceled out. So you have residential uses nearby. I think the fire department was considering the overall impact to the community with the adjacent houses nearby and being able to fight a fire, structure fire, I'll say a lot easier, but it would be easier for them to respond and have more personnel on scene with an engine rather than one having to drive the tanker truck there. So it would kind of free up personnel, but I'd have
So
to.
you're saying a community water system would free up personnel?
Right, you have one less that you have to shuttle back and forth.
In the letter from the fire department, he states that Station 3, approximately 9 minutes, but if you used tankers for extended time, it would move it from 36 to 38 minutes. That's a lot of difference in a case of a fire.
Yeah, and I guess I have to refer back to, and that's why I asked Fire Prevention Chief Carter to, provide their justification or viewpoint on it. I'm not the expert on the fighting a fire. So the importance of a community water system for them is really crucial, as well as getting the flows correctly that help them actually fight a fire, so.
Mr. Kirsch, there are 3 people signed up to speak, so
Okay.
you've still got 9 minutes to come back and answer any questions they may have.
All right, and the only thing I want to add is I just submitted it as a minor subdivision, which is 10 lots or less, which doesn't require community water. Because of the reduction in the lot size that Mr. Bath asked about, we provided an open space for recreation. And because of that, we were able to get the reduction down per lot. But then the fire chief or fire prevention, Mr. Carter, counted the open lot as an 11th lot, making it an intermediate subdivision, which is where the fire flow came into the conversation. So my second proposal, I got rid of the open space, got rid of the 10th lot, and everything is over 80,000 square feet. For the
And
zoning.
there is no, one of the conditions was an active playground. So this would
Well, it was an
negate-
active playground because of the reduction in the lots that were under 80,000 square feet. So with the removal of the open space, the removal of the playground, and I don't have a problem with planting trees or site-built construction on there.
If you take out the 10th lot, it lowers the requirement.
There was a
so,
requirement,
yeah.
but that's one of the conditions. All right, if you'll stand by, I will call up Mr. Joseph Stuckey.
Thank you. My name is Joseph Stuckey. I retired as a registered land surveyor in 2009, 15 years ago. On a little personal note, my wife and I lived just outside the Girl Scout camp in Savannah for years. And about 40 years ago, they tried this same stuff right now to us. And we relocated to Bulloch County to get away from what they're planning next door. Okay? But as a note, let's go back to the 10 lots, because none of these people on Billings Mill Road have heard anything about a 9 lot. We don't know anything about that yet. And my personal opinion, I think it's illegal to change it in the middle. I think he should submit again next year if he wants 9 lots, not this year. Y'all can check that out, but I'm pretty sure he needs to submit again next year if he wants 9 lots, because we have not had a chance to look at 9 lots. Everything we've done, as I went up and down the road to people's houses, we talked and looked at that map of 10 lots. The 10 lots, some of them are what, 72.9? So they're almost 7,000 square feet short. That's 70 feet wide by 100 feet long, short of being the correct thing. Now, if that was sent to the county commissioners and they approved it, then it might be that people would take that as the county trying to, I'm not going to say fool people, but trying to do things that were substandard within the county. They'd lay themselves wide open for lawsuits. Just me talking. I didn't say I was doing that. I said if they submit and approve these lots below 80,000 square feet, the county has a big problem. I guess y'all people do too, but individually, this is not a good idea. When you turn on Pleasant Hill Road and you go down, there's people there there's some people building a new house. It's got to be over 100 acres, one house. People across the road for them, I don't want to tell you wrong, 8 or 10 acres. As I went down there talking to people, my wife and I went all the way down the road, and everybody we could find at home, we talked to them because the people that live on that road want to live rural. That's the reason I came there. I was a Chatham County surveyor, and I drove to Savannah and lived here, so I did not have to put up with what they're talking about. That's, you know, the big thing that bothers me is the 9 acres should be submitted next year. If you go with the 10 and do it this year, they're substandard, and the county does not want to get into a substandard legal battle. I mean, these people got big houses. They can afford to file whatever, you know what I'm saying? Okay, basically what I have to say.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you much.
All right, Beverly Stuckey.
Blessings to everyone. This parcel of land is zoned Ag 5. When this gentleman purchased this property, he's already built 6 houses over there. And excuse me, and in my opinion, some of these houses, I mean, he has thrown these houses up. They look pretty good on the outward side, but I would imagine how they'd look in about 5 years. Pleasant Hill is a rural community, and like my husband said, he and I'm 78 years old, he's 80. We went out in this heat Saturday and went up and down this road talking to the residents on Pleasant Hill Road. And generally, the concession is that they're all opposed to this subdivision. And I'm in agreement. We were based on, because it did not meet R80's standard for the lots that he submitted and what I received a copy of. So I don't see how he, in the middle of the whole deal, can just turn everything around. But anyway, that common area he was talking about, like I said, did not meet the requirements for R80 lots. And these pop-up subdivisions, everybody's talking about the wonderful farmland we have in Bulloch County and our peanuts and cotton. They're disappearing very substantially now. The way these people are coming in and just upsetting communities with these things. We are rural. When you turn off 80 at Hopalacket and come all the way down, everything is acreage until you hit Portal, which is the city, and of course the houses are close together. You go outside of Portal, and then again, there's the acreage. When you turn off Highway 80 onto Pleasant Hill Road, it's acreage. And here he wants to put in these pop-up little subdivision. He won't be here in 2 years. He'll have his money in his pocket, and we're the people on Pleasant Hill Road are the ones that's gonna have to contend with, to live with what he has envisioned out there. So, I am requesting that y'all deny this reloaning. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Stuckey. And then we have James Carr.
This is brand new to me, never done this before, but there's a first for everything. So I'm not going to repeat what the last two said about the lot sizes and all, but I'm James Carr. I'm a forester and a real estate agent here in Bulloch County. Me and my wife with the loud kids in the back, we're transplants here. We moved here about 9 years ago, started off in Brooklet. At the time, everybody we talked to around here, Brooklet's the place to be. It's a small town, farm town, you know, great school system. And so we lived there for 2 or 3 years, and it started growing, and we moved to Statesboro. That lasted about 2 years, and like these folks said, we were looking for some country living, and so we invested in 100 acres. That's probably the house he's talking about being built. We're putting every dime we have into this house right now on our 100 acres that we probably won't have retirement because of. But we have invested deeply in that land, and at the rate things have been going over the past few years, I hate to say this because we've called Bulloch County home since we've been here, and we didn't think we would ever leave, but the rate we're going, I really wish we would have invested in Emmanuel or Jenkins County. And it hurts me to say that, but the stuff going on around here, like these folks are saying, it just doesn't make sense. I understand we've got to have growth. Growth is inevitable. We've got to have some common sense with growth too. Southeast Bulloch has already been decimated, in my opinion. The cropland, the timberland, everything's been decimated down there with warehouses, cookie cutter neighborhoods, and everything else. And now we're seeing that happen, or trying to see that happen in literally the last frontier of Bulloch County, which is Portal. I don't want to see that happen. I think that the area it's in, again, I don't know what map or category she got the subdivision. It's a suburban area. It ain't a suburban area. You pull out there and it's farms and it's acres and it's timberland, and that's all it is. And again, I know I'm beating a dead horse because everybody else has said this, but Bulloch County is known for its agriculture and its timberland, and the industries that both of those items put out, whether it be mills, nurseries, peanut plants. I mean, the list goes on. But we're seeing that disappear every single day, and we're not Savannah, and we don't want to be Savannah. I don't, and I think everybody on that street doesn't. So all that to be said, I'm here today speaking in opposition on the account of 12 other neighboring landowners. Some of them are here today. But I've talked with 12 individual property owners on Pleasant Hill Road, and I'm here to ask y'all to oppose it. Again, I think if Mr. Kirsch bought the dirt as Ag 5, he ought to be able to make his profit and his money that way. If he can't, it's a bad buy. We all do it in business. But I don't think you should be able to buy a 50-acre field, market and brand country homes on them with acreage, sell some of those country homes, and then turn around and slap 9, 10, whatever the number is, more houses right next door. Do you think the people that just bought the country homes are going to feel like they're in the country anymore? And I mean, maybe that doesn't matter. I know that's probably not a legal or a zoning or planning issue, but I certainly think it's an ethical issue. Just to put a bow on it, I would say it's, to my knowledge, it's not in the growth map. There's no other subdivisions nearby. It's not in city limits. And I think it goes without saying, the school system in Bulloch County does not need 16 more families jam-packed into, especially the small school of Portal.
Thank you,
That's all.
Mr. Carr. Mr. Kirsch, you have some time left if you'd like to come up and address some of the issues brought up by these folks.
No, I respect everybody's opinion in there, and at the end of the day, I could have gone in R25, R40 and tried to cram them in there, but I've lived in those subdivisions. I've lived here. I moved here personally myself. I am
All right,
from
Mr.
Bulloch
Kirsch,
County
you need
now.
to turn around and address us, please.
I'm sorry. I'm just talking to them. So anyway, I do live in Bulloch County. I love it. I wouldn't go back. I'm originally from Savannah. I grew up in the urban sprawl neighborhoods. And everybody I talk to, every one of my homeowners over the last few years, I've built on the Oaks and off of Josh Steele Road. I've built in Weatherstone. I've built in Farmington off of Colby Boyd, back and forth. Everyone's tired of the half-acre lots, HOAs, everyone telling them what they can do, don't do. I bought it. It was a big purchase. Take pressure off, I kept it Ag 5, but I'm getting more and more people. We just closed the house with EMS people, first responders. There's firefighters interested in Bulloch County in the 2-acre lots without having the overwhelming maintenance of 5 full acres of cutting grass and doing other things. So that's why I went R80 with it. And because of the reduced lot size, the open space, it's in their ordinance. They say you can do it. They started pushing fire flow because of the fact they added the 11th lot as the open space. I cut it down to 9. Everything's over R80, and it's just kind of where it is.
Well, this will be heard, our recommendation will be presented before the Board of Commissioners
Okay.
on September 2nd.
Yeah.
So whatever recommendation we make, you've got some time to talk to some of these folks, and maybe y'all can come to some agreements.
Very good.
All right,
Thank
thank you.
y'all for your time.
I got a question.
Sorry.
In the picture, that one, there are like 3 houses up, whatever direction that is on the map. Where is the actual parcel that you're talking about dividing out? By the
Hold that
tax
up.
map, you have 55 acres.
Hold that picture up again that you just showed me.
We can take,
You see
we
the
can
part
take
that's
this
rectangle like a
sketch plan
football
up,
field
or-
that hasn't been cut yet? It's right there. It's at the top end of the property, close to Mr. Stuckey's property, which is at the top end of the, on the map that,
But in the tax assessor's map, these houses aren't on the plan.
no. It was zoned ag, it was on, the tax assessor updates their records like every January or February. So if it was completed in January, or February, you won't see the lot divisions on there for about a year until they update the
Yeah,
maps.
it's just not showing up on the tax assessor's site, but when those homes were built, as part of the building process, of course, we approved plats in our office, but, that's when I think previous zoning administrator split them out, but, when the homes were, applied for a building permit, we get the plats and check all that, but, yeah, they were parceled out.
Are those on 5-acre lots, or what size lots are they?
They're on 5-acre lots.
They're 5 plus. There's 1 or 2 that are 5 acres and one's 8, one was 6.5. They varied.
How many acres do you have left?
At 19.53. Originally, it was like, I'm guessing off the top of my head, 59 acres.
5.9 is what?
Yeah, maybe 55. All right, so it's 55.9 and there's 19.53 left. And all the natural vegetation that's around the property currently is gonna stay. Nothing's,
Green part?
yeah, all the natural vegetation along Pleasant Hill Road, all the vegetation that backs up to Mr. Stuckey's property, there's probably about 20 or 30 feet of vegetation on my property that's all gonna stay and not be removed.
So has that been sold, that green part?
No, I own that.
So you still own it?
Yeah, I'm trying to get it rezoned to build houses on it.
That's what we're doing right now.
Now, he said this area that was cut.
the area that's not cut that kind of looks like a football field that the bush hog didn't quite go over yet, that's the location of where the 9 lots or 10 lots are going.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
So, Madam Chair, just for clarification, and he did mention it, but our ordinance does allow for, it's up to a 15% bonus density in, in developments, but it's by 5% increments. So the open space, open lot, and then the playground pavilion would satisfy an additional 5%. So there was,
So that's the validation for the lots being under 80,000 square feet.
correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
Could you address, because I'm the one that has to see it, this amended plan he put before us, that was just for our knowledge to wonder for, it is not being considered, is that correct? Only the original?
I mean, I think that could be up to this board if y'all wanted to take, defer it to look at the second site plan
But it could be deferred to the next meeting,
if the board felt.
felt that it would be worthy. All right, are there any questions for Mr. Kirsch? Any other questions or
Can I
for the county?
add something, Madam Chair? I think there's confusion too about, the rezone is not necessarily going to determine how many lots there are. That would be done at the sketch plan stage. So, he can present his proposals or ideas. Now, they may have some effect on the conditions, that you might want to impose, but when you rezone the property, it can be subdivided any number or size of lots as long as it meets the standards for that zoning district.
That being said, any discussion?
Mr. Akins, if we rezone it with what's presented and it puts in community well, and he comes back and goes to 9 lots, he's still gonna be confined to having that community well?
Not necessarily. I mean, the ordinance doesn't require a community well for, if it's less than 10 lots or less. Isn't that right, James?
Correct. Now, but we've introduced a condition here on the basis of fire protection which is available by condition in our ordinance. So the condition, I believe,
The condition makes it a requirement.
that's how I would read it.
Well, if that's what you want to do, I would reword the condition because it says meeting the design standards in effect at the time of sketch plan approval. Well, design standards, if it's 10 lots or less, don't require it.
Okay.
Am I correct? So, I mean, I think if that's your intent, you might need to reword.
I think where the
That
confusion's
condition.
coming in is the open space that was there for recreational purposes for the community. The fire chief or fire prevention guy was counting that as the 11th lot, taking it as 11th lot, but it doesn't have water, it doesn't have, I can build a pavilion with steel columns, steel trusses, metal roof and brick, and it wouldn't need fire protection. But I'm not saying I'm gonna do that. All I'm saying is I'm trying to get out of the fire flow. You'll never have low-density subdivisions in Bulloch County the way this is right now. The break-even point for a fire flow well, and this is above my pay grade, but it goes 25 lots down, 50 lots down, or whatever it is, and even 25 lots down is my $325,000 to $350,000 price. So your break-even point is urban sprawl everywhere you go with community wells. You're gonna have 40, 50 lots or more in every subdivision that comes through here. Unless you have a bunch of 9 or little 10-lot subdivisions that are R80 or something like that, just because the requirements are so stiff. Like our well prices doubled after COVID. So it's just kind of where we are.
All right, thank you, sir. And I guess with that, it closes the public portion of this meeting and goes to this commission for discussion or a motion.
Motion to deny.
Second motion.
Got a motion to deny, we've got a second. All those in favor of denial? Those opposed? I believe that's unanimous. We recommend denial to the county commissioners, but again, we've got till September 2nd to maybe meet with some of these folks and come up with an agreement. Thank you, sir. Item number 5. Mr. Samuel Lovett Sr. has submitted an application for a conditional use to allow a facility to host private and public functions. The property is located at 2999 Old Deal Road. But before you proceed, Mr. Loach, I think you have 2 members of this committee who need to say something.
I want to accuse myself, personal interest, I have to accuse myself.
All right, so if y'all will step down. All right, Mr. Loach.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we have Samuel Lovett, who has submitted this application for conditional use in order to allow a facility to host private and public functions. The property is located at 2999 Old Dill Road. And here's a photo of it on the 2045 comprehensive map. It is north of Portal, and it is in a rural open space character area. Here's a photo of the zoning map, which shows it is zoned Ag 5. And then here's an aerial of the parcel as well. Here's a sketch plan provided by the applicant, and he has everything listed above. So this would be the building that is used. Entrance and exits are labeled B and F. And then C would be paved handicap parking. D is the porta potty area. And then E would be additional parking. And then here's a photo of the building that will be used for the venue event. It is showing north into the property. And then here is northeast into the or northwest into the of the property. And then east of the property, west of the property, and across the street of the property, which would be south.
All right, Mr. Lovett will be acting as agent.
Good afternoon. A lot of my business name is, I guess my legal name is Samuel, but everybody know me as Clint. I'm owner of Baby CJ's Rib Shack. This facilities here, that's actually listed wrong. The A part is the part that's gonna be actually used, which is along passageway right there. This building, I mean, reason why I'm doing it, all my life, it's been used as a venue. My dad was a general contractor, Ernest Lovett. Some of you might know him. But as a community, my mom, Azul Lovett, both of them passed away now. They have had family unions. My sister was a recruiter for Georgia Southern University. A lot of Georgia Southern students would come out there just to get the country, just country living. Met her before they integrated the proms in the 2000s. They would have their proms out there. It has never been a problem. Even the sheriff called me this week, Noah Brown. He said, "Hey, I had a lot of phone calls about this thing, but anybody got a problem? I don't think it'll be a problem. I'm the one here to tell you, you know." Reason being, I'm going the legal route with it just because of what we got here now. It's a lot of neighbors and a lot of concerns and everything else. If I would have got to going with it and you know, it's been going all this long time and it has never been a problem. But I wanted to do it the legal way. I wanted to come up and name it, give it a name, Pine Deal Pond House, which is a bunch of pine trees, and it's on Old Deal Road, so Pine Deal Pond House. Around me is the Hatchet Farm, which is about 2,000 and something acres. The sisters or whatever so it's nothing back that way. Across the street is Gary Stewart, and he owns roughly over 100 and something acres. To the left of me is Daniel Dabbs. He's kind of off to himself. And across the street is Ryan Brandon, which is Carol Brandon's property. That's about 60 something acres. over there. So it's really roughly about 4 neighbors right there. I know they concerned probably is Zone 5 area. I'm not changing nothing. And my reason of being here today, it's gonna cost me about $30,000 a year. My dad, when he built that house, I don't know what he was thinking. So it's gonna, before said and done, cutting the air conditioner on and everything else, it's gonna cost me about $30,000 a year. As soon as I inherited the property, I have had 2 offers that I'd be crazy for not taking. But my daddy said he quit school and went to Florida, went to New York to save the farm. That meant something to me. But my thing is, coming to my head as being a businessman, what can I do that, that I can do to keep this property and keep it just like it is and not have a developer to come in there or neighbors, but if it came down to it, if I can't afford it, I have no choice. It'll be no choice. But my offer, just like I said, that I've had, I can fly away and disappear for a little bit. But I don't want to do that because I made a promise to my dad. It's a lot of promises we sat down and made, and that was one of them. So my thing is to come back to the table and say, you know what, we already done been doing this. We already done had events here. I've served the basketball team numerous of times for free, and it's a lot of stuff dealing with the schools and stuff like that. We will have out there if it's accepted, and I'm big on the community, and I understand my neighbors probably have a concern about noise and all of this and that right there. But the thing about it is, it's in the bylaws, what I've signed off on, that it can't exceed that. The noise levels, the parking side of the road, all that kind of stuff. And I don't think that it would be any harm because I've catered venues. They have neighbors and they have rules that they go by. I've been to some of them. It's 11 o'clock curfew. I was catering one of them. That man went and blanked the lights. It was still going on, and he went and pulled the switch. And I thought kind of hard of that, but I didn't know the reason why. But after I read those rules, I see the reason why. It was over with. So I would like to do this thing and respect my neighbors and respect. I'm not here to go in there and cut down all the pine trees. I'm not here trying to do anything else. But, for Old Deer Road, it ain't really nobody really farming on Old Deer Road except Poochie. Poochie and them got a farm, and they still have dirt land. But all up and down Old Deer Road is pine trees. And most of them, from the rooter to the tutor, but a Hall farm, I think they rent theirs out. It's a little bit of dirt still left, but not much. What I'm getting at, the bulk of it is all woodland, and it's off to itself. So with it being rezoning, I'm not trying to get in there and tear a house down that was built in 1970 something and been the Kittle's place since the 1920 something. What I'm trying to do is have something. Okay, something happened to me. Like I talked to Ryan the other day. I got a bleeding disorder. A lot of people don't know my medicine costs $56,000 a month. If something happened to me today, I want to have something in place where my wife and my kids, they can continue renting the place out and they can keep it there. They can continue doing stuff for the community. But if I can't have something to pay bills with dry land sitting right there, what am I supposed to do? The timber ain't big enough to cut. So, money runs short. Restaurant business, it is what it is, but it's only 3 to 6%. You talking about $30,000 a year to just sit there. So I don't know what my neighbors expect for me to do. And some of them, if we even kill a deer on the property, they come riding around there and want to know what size the deer is that you killed on your own property. And that ain't right. But I'm just being blunt with it because I'm sick of it. People got their own property. I want to respect my neighbors. I do want to do that. That's one thing I'm going to do. But they have to understand that if you want to keep something and you don't want to make this Zone 5 and all this and that, I'm not out here trying to do parties. What I want to do is a wedding venue, or if a retirement, people want to rent it, or a family unit or something like that,
But in the contract, it's gonna be listed where they got to keep the noise down. They got to keep the levels down, and it will be someone present. If place get rented out, it's gonna be someone on the property all the time monitoring the crowd. So we have catered many places. None of those places that we catered don't have monitors. And so they monitor it, make sure everything right. I've never seen a problem. And I've since I've been doing restaurant 4 years, we catered a lot of them. And you know, you let your DJs and all that know, hey, the music can only be at this level right here, and that's it. You know, at the restaurant, we have line dance night. Like I told Ryan, they jamming in there. Them retired ladies in there, they jamming. You can't hear it from the outside, but I mean, on the inside, I mean, they doing what they do. You know, I ain't never had no complaints about the neighbors. I got neighbors these ain't the only neighbors I got. I don't stay over there, but I got neighbors at the restaurant. I got another business restaurant. I got neighbors over there and neighbors over there. I raised over there on Odea Road. So it ain't like I'm coming over there buying in and doing something that ain't never been done before. You know, and them two right there that they sat down, Matt and they know that, I mean, they might not speak up on it, but they already know that it's been events. That's the reason why they oppose, because they already know that it's been events going on over there ever since I was big enough to even come up. Ryan said, well, I don't know nothing about no events. I said, I can't help nothing but what you don't know, son, but it's been going on for my mom passed away in 1999, but before she passed away, it was always from Jenkins County to Metter, Bulloch County, people rented that place out. It was never a problem. So I welcome whoever want to speak on it.
All right, well, I have one question to ask you. I'm looking, the parking situation looks like it could use some work. It concerns me that people will have to drive over a pond dam and park behind the pond, and there's no barriers or any safety features to keep people from falling in that pond, especially if they have been drinking at some events. And I know one of the conditions is no unlicensed alcohol, but that's gonna be hard to monitor too. And that concerns me that they'd be walking and driving across that pond dam and parking behind it. Do you have another plan, or could you come up with a better plan for parking?
Well, I can cut that out. I mean, it is limit the people that we have to have. I mean, nobody never parked over there. I just kind of drew that out just in case we need extra parking. But the backyard, which is the side yard, which is wide open, and the front yard and the side, that's where people always parked at. Nobody never parked over there. So I can eliminate that. I don't have to have parking over there, and which I was thinking about anyway, putting the gate going across the pond down, just because of just people just riding back there being nosy sometime that I didn't get permission to. That's no problem. I can gate. That's in my interest to gate that off anyway.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Levitt from this board?
Would you let the people?
We do have several people signed up to speak, and while you have like 50 seconds left, but they'll give you time, or that 10 seconds, I don't know which kind. But we'll let them speak, and then maybe you can answer some of their questions afterwards.
All right.
All right, first off, we have Miss Miriam Hatcher.
Okay. Good evening, Chairman and members of the Commission. My name is Miriam Hatcher. Our family farm is on Old Dill Road, just down from Clint's. I request the Commission vote to deny Mr. Lovett's conditional use application for an event facility. Clint just mentioned his neighbors. First of all, just a correction, we actually do have row crops, and a lot of the individuals he mentioned also have row crops. And they stand with me in opposition. And they're listed on the petition that I provided y'all. That include, but not limited to, adjacent landowner May Hatcher, Bill Hatcher, who's here tonight, Ryan Brannon, also here tonight, Charles Finch, and Gary Stewart. There is strong community opposition, and we're asking for your support based on the following comments. An event center is in direct violation of the Bulloch County Comprehensive Plan. The SMART 2045 plan emphasizes preserving the rural character of areas like Portal. An event center does not follow this vision and fails to consider the full potential of the town of Portal. Setting a precedent for event centers on ag land intended for rural use will be detrimental. Approving one event venue makes it nearly impossible to deny the next. I ask you, who will then provide the natural landscape? Mr. Lovett proceeded with his proposal without conversation with his neighbors. It's worth noting he does not reside at Old Deal Road. He won't feel the direct impact, making it easier to dismiss concerns of neighbors who are directly affected. Bottom line, it's clear Mr. Lovett is self-serving with a clear lack of consideration for neighbors and the purpose of Ag 5 zoning. The hours and manner of operations for an event center will have a negative impact on residents. It will cause harm to neighboring properties with noise, light, traffic, and late-night activity. The neighbors, some of which I named, have preserved their farmland for generations, yet the staff was quick to approve an event center with only 10 conditions. The conditions recommended are not strong enough to protect farmers and to preserve Ag 5 zoning. As you can see from the photos, his home is located directly on Old Deal Road. Very little, if no natural screening. The venue is on a pond, a sound and light amplifier that you cannot remove. Condition number 2 of 10, lighting not to produce glare or nuisance to surrounding properties, is clearly unattainable. Condition 3 states 1 freestanding sign 5 feet in height. What about LED signs? That wasn't addressed. Condition number 7 doesn't limit use. In fact, it broadens the building use. Where are the restrictions? Bottom line, no matter the number of conditions, denial is the clear decision here. An event center is not ag use, it's just the opposite, it's commercial. An event center is not consistent with neighboring land that is ag and low-density rural living. Event venues belong in commercial or mixed-use zones. The town of Portal has other areas suitable for commercial development. An event center equals economic harm. An event center in Ag 5 makes surrounding land less desirable, plus the increase in taxes is going to push farmers out. I ask you, if you had to choose, would you want to live across from an event center or the rural backdrop of Hatcher Farm pine trees? Let me be clear. No matter how Mr. Lovett tries to camouflage his event center, it does not preserve the farming integrity of Portal. We ask the commission to stand with us in opposition of the event center. Please protect the rural character of Portal for the future and vote to deny. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Ryan.
Mr. Ryan Brannon?
Good evening. How y'all tonight? Ryan Brandon, just, I guess, reiterate everything that Miriam said. I'm not going to go reinvent this thing, but we have mostly generational land on that road. A lot of us, I'm a 5th generation on that road. My kids are 6th. To give you a little backdrop of just how close we are, these pictures don't do that justice at all. From Mr. Stewart's property, the corner of his yard and the corner of my yard, we can almost throw a rock by hand and hit the corner of his yard right here. There's no way that music or any noise whatsoever is not going to be a disturbance to either of us. And it's just not going to be possible. Now, I've talked with Clint, as he said, and me and him had a conversation about this, and we know where each other stand, and hopefully after all this, we can still be friends. But there's a lot going on here. I've lived on that road. I'm 48 years old, and from the day they brought me home, I was in that house. There has not been as many events as Clint has tried to portray that there has been there. He has had family events, et cetera, over the years and stuff like that. But being rented out for months and weeks and multiple weeks and all at the time, that's not a thing. It's never been that. We've always been good neighbors when they had them. We had no problems with stuff like that. But an event center that's open to possibly rent it out every single weekend, you can all sit here and think about that, how you would like that as a neighbor for you, and disturb your peace every weekend possibly. I mean, there's that possibility that's open. Well, I'm not here for profit to take my peace, and that's the only peace and solitude I have is my home. And I'm sorry that we're all fighting high taxes in this county. I'm sure anybody in this room could probably point to that at any point in time. We all feel that pain. We all do. but it's not, I'm not gonna take the piece of my neighbor so I can profit from it to be able to pay my taxes on my property. I hate that it's like that. It's not my fault. It's not anybody else's fault. It's just, I guess that's the nature of the beast at this point in time. I guess my problem with this is I need clarification on number 6, you know, and I'm opposed to it completely, but the conditions are not being met. You know, a licensed alcohol sales, can you put a liquor store if it ever comes up? If you license a venue event, can you just open up a liquor store there? I mean, they don't tell you yes or no. I mean, you add buildings, Miriam already said something about number 7, but another clarification is number 9. I mean, you have one clarification of A, it stops at 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., and then B stops at 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. So which one is it? You said, I mean, you got basically both the same, you know, criteria as far as equipment, but there's just a lot more. It's too close proximity to all the neighbors. It's not going to work. It's going to be a disaster from the beginning. Clint's a great guy. He's done a great job with the property. It's really beautiful, but an event center is not going to work here. Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, and finally, Mr. Bill Hatcher.
Madam Chairman, members of the commission, Miriam and Ryan have expressed our position very well. And we are currently enjoying a very quiet, calm, peaceful life in our little notch of the woods up on Old Dill Road. But if this request before you is granted, that's all going to end. Some say, don't worry about it. It's not going to amount to anything. But I submit that Clint Lovett will do everything that he can. He'll use social media, radio, TV, anything he can do to schedule events in this venue to the max as much as he can. And no one can fault him for trying and striving to be successful. Meanwhile, that's not going to be good for us in that community. I believe your responsibility is to do no harm. And there's no question, if you support this proposal, it will harm us. Ryan's family and my family have for 4 generations, over 100 years, worked very hard to preserve this land that's adjacent to this for our future generations. And now, this one sentence letter of intent from Mr. Lovett will undo all that we've worked for. It's unbelievable, unthinkable. We humbly beg you to not let this happen. Please vote denied. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to ask this board's permission to give each side 5 more minutes, because I know there are probably some questions that we'd like to ask for Mr. Lovett. And if we give him more time, then we have to equally give the opposing side more time. So may I have a
Motion to approve.
All right, is there a
Extending
second?
time 5 minutes on each side.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Bath, all those in favor? All right, may we do so? And Mr. Lovett, if you'll come back up.
Gene, before he comes up, can staff clarify the questions that have been brought up on the conditions?
The time?
on.
I think the first, number 6 and number 9, I believe, A and B. 6 really just means if you had a citation that there was unlicensed alcohol sales there, we would revoke the conditional use for the, this special use permit or conditional use permit.
So would that mean a third party, if they were to have alcohol at a function, that means a third party bonded person would
If you have alcohol, you got to have somebody that's licensed, or basically, like, they would have to actually get a special alcohol certificate to be able to be off from wherever they license at. You know, just like, I mean, at the restaurant, I sell beer and wine. But if I've never done a venue with beer and wine, I mean, I've been asked, but I just don't want to get into it. But I would actually have to go and actually get a special permit to actually be able to
serve it.
To serve it.
Yeah, so
You can't just.
the key word there being unlicensed, so you couldn't just bring a cooler of beer and just sell it. But if you had as I believe he just said, the catered event, you could have someone that, you go through the special event permit process to get the alcohol. So there's a special event permit through the county that a licensed caterer, that's just, they didn't do it at Ogeechee Tech and other places all the time. So you just got to have, some insurance and things of that nature. But there's a license process for selling alcohol on locations like that. But the intent here is that, you couldn't sell it as the event venue. It couldn't be a store or anything like that.
Can't just have a cash bar, not be operated by.
If it's outside of what an individual one, so each event that would require a special event permit, alcohol licensed person would have to provide that alcohol. And the sheriff, I believe, signs off on that as well. So they have to, there's a process to go through that you could sell the alcohol, but it's through special event permit.
But James, that condition does not prevent there being alcohol on the premises.
Correct.
It just keeps it from being sold there. Is that my understanding is correct? It keeps it from being unlicensed sold there. Is that my understanding that correct? Like you could have
Or serve there could be.
Yeah, you could have an event where you can bring your own cooler or whatever, and there's no condition to prevent that. This just deals with selling it. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, scenario there,
I think personally, you can bring your own beer, but for as like me as a business, I can't bring the beer and set it out there, or I can't have a bartender to even serve the beer or anything like that. So if you got somebody but from my understanding, it's like if you having something, and so Mr. Brandon's having a party over here, and you got your own coolers out. That's normally the way it is whenever we cater. They have their own. They bring their own. BYOB, bring your own beer.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way that event that goes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure I understand how we got this. What we doing here.
I ain't want to sell no beer. I'm not wanting to do that.
Okay, and then number 9?
The number 9 is just really a copy near verbatim from the noise ordinance that Bulloch County has in place. I think the intent there is just to spell it out in this conditional use permit that, if there's a noise violation there, obviously we could revoke the conditional use.
What was it, 10 p.m. or 8?
8 p.m. Yeah, that's confusing.
I can go by whatever. The one I read was 11 as far as the event had to close up, I think, not unless I read it wrong.
This is noise.
Oh, noise.
Yeah.
Hay says 10 p.m. B says 8 PM.
Yeah, of course, like I said, I think it's a copy from the noise ordinance, so,
Is that correct?
yeah, I think, I'm trying to, and Jeff, you may have a little more experience here on this. I mean, we honestly don't get a lot of, countywide, we just don't get a whole lot of calls. So there's some, depends on what your event is. I mean, if it's,
Well, is there a difference between amplifiers and loudspeakers and then compact discs? Is that,
Sounds like you might need to look at this ordinance tomorrow.
Yeah, I think the one distinction, the times, the 8 PM to 7 AM is something that's being played or used inside a building or structure, whereas the other one could be outside. But the key thing in any of that, and those are just examples, because there's a general provision in the noise ordinance about you can't, any noise that would, and I'm not quoting it exactly, that would disturb the peace of a reasonable person that's audible from more than 100 feet from where it originates, that would be a violation of the noise ordinance.
any time of the day?
Yeah, any time of the day, really. These are just examples of what
But if you're having
are called per se violations. In other words, this would create a rebuttable presumption that it's been violated.
If you're having an event, if you get to turn it off at 8 o'clock, or you get to turn it off at 10 o'clock, it's a lot of difference.
Right, well, I mean, that's true. And I would say this would limit, if there's any noise coming from inside the building that would disturb somebody within a distance of 100 feet, they wouldn't be able to do that after 8 PM. Now, whether it disturbs a reasonable person, that's a whole different. I had a neighbor who's moved, thank God, but they were 4 houses down from me. They used to have parties back in their woods, which I don't really think they should have been back there anyway. But I could hear the noise from my house if I was out on my back deck. But it wasn't real loud, but it was enough to irritate me. But am I a reasonable person? I don't know. It bothered me, though. So I think these situations are, if you got a loud party going on and it's after a certain time at night and it's disturbing the neighbors, then I think you've got arguably got a violation of the noise ordinance.
All right, now let's go back and give Mr. Lovett some time back, since this was more of a county thing. And I'll have any questions from this board for Mr. Lovett.
What's the, James, and you may know this question, I don't know. Is there a certificate of occupancy on that building that limits the number of people that can be in there? Or have we made it that far? And
Fire department said right now it can go up to 200.
so he can have 200 people at these parties, or can he have 1,000 because they'll fit and only 200 are in the building?
You can't. Yeah, I wouldn't even say it'd be something with 200. But I mean, whatever the rules are, I want to abide by the rules. I'm not trying to buck the rules. If anybody want to buck the rules, they can book up. That's pretty much.
How many restrooms are in the facility?
Sir?
How many restrooms do you have inside the facility?
2. And then this right here is actually set up, if they need more, it can be external porta potties or whatever, do for whatever event.
Are they handicap accessible?
Yes.
The 2 you have,
Or one.
one or 2?
One of two bathrooms, but one of them
One's
handicap.
handicap.
So, I'm trying to think here. So the maximum number of guests in our supplemental standards for this use is 300. Now, the building occupancy would be, determined by the fire department.
Fire department told me.
And they did an inspection when Mr. Lovett applied for a business license for the venue. And that's when, that's how we got it into this process. Now, you could put in I think we have in the past put a limit on the number of guests if there's a need for more restriction there. If you felt like the parking wasn't adequate enough to hold that number of people there, I mean, there's just a number of ways you could look at it. But our hours of operation would be limited to 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. So that's just operation, not noise. There are some buffer requirements there. It says no outdoor amplified sound or entertainment is allowed between 11 p.m. and 9 a.m. So, I think there's a lot of different regulation that goes into play here, but
Is there a health standard on how many bathrooms? Like, if he's got 300 people coming, does he have to put out 10 porta potties? I'm just curious.
There is a code section that, based on your occupancy, that you would have to have a certain number of facilities. That is under, that is a standard in here that says commensurate with the number of guests, portable toilets must be provided unless the property has adequate restroom facilities connected to sanitary sewer or septic system. So if the two bathrooms in the current structure are not adequate, the portable restrooms could be utilized, they need to be screened. That's fairly consistent with other event venues that have been approved in the past.
All right, are there any more questions?
Have you looked at how many cars you can park in what you've got if you exclude the parking across the pond?
Sir?
Have you looked into how many vehicles you can park?
I have 40, 20. So you're looking at still 67 cars.
If the long area is what you're going to use for the events, the house proper in front, what is that being used for? The smaller area in the front?
The house area?
Yeah.
Nothing. It's just bedrooms and stuff up that way. The rest of it is open. It's just the open all the way from one end to the next. One of them is a pawn house with the kitchen, bathroom, and all that stuff into it. And the middle section, which I just got finished redoing, is just a bunch of ceiling fans. Originally, my mom, when they was having events, she asked my dad to build a walkway, so she wouldn't have to walk outside. So we was thinking that he was just gonna build just a regular walkway, and he ended up building this whole inside with glass to go from one section to the next when she was getting finished cleaning up from the events. But if it's my turn to talk, I'm gonna this is not the town of Portal. This is Bulloch County. Town of Portal has their own government. Right in the Portal community, you have, I know the Lita Loach sister has a venue out there. It don't make no noise. You have Miss Brandon, Mr. Brandon out there that always get rented for the Copper Barn. Matter of fact, they have proms and stuff out there. There's people all up and down that dirt road. It's not paved. Dust fly everywhere. I mean, they could be complaining about they got to pressure wash their house 30 times a year. It's a lot of stuff that you can, people can complain about. But I'm not here to make a club. This is not a club. This is, what I'm calling it is a venue. I'm not even calling it an event center. It's too nice for an event center. It's not made for, if somebody want to pay the price, but it's not made for a kid's birthday party or stuff like that. It's not, that's not what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for if somebody want to rent it out for something nice facility to come to and pay the price for it. That's what it's going to be used for. It's not, I had a lot of people call and ask me, is it, can I rent it for $100? Can I rent it for $100? No, I don't put too much work in. I done put over $100,000 in this place in the last 3 months. Just upgrading it because it was just beat. Daddy being in the retirement home and not getting done, termites, all kind of stuff. So, I just wanted to preserve my parents' home. This is just like they talking about what they people done. It's folks that's done lost their people property on that road. We try to fight so that don't happen. It don't get foreclosed on. I'm not trying to come here and trying to make a lot of money. What I'm trying to do is make enough where, and I am. I'm telling the truth. I'm trying to make it so my family can have somewhere to come back to. Yes, I'm the baby at 9, so they can once a year, once or twice a year, they want to come in, just like that house part. I got a brother that's in the military. If he want to fly, Frankie, if he want to come in, or I got a brother that's in Florida, from Atlanta, they want to come in. I'm redoing the house, so they'll be able to come in with their kids or whatever they want to do. But in the meantime, I want to make it into a venue for something nice where people can come there. But I don't put too much money into it. I not want nobody to come there and ramshack the property. I don't want nobody to ramshack it. If anything, I approved the Old Deer Road, from the way it looked at before. If I had pictures the way it looked at before I got finished redoing it, it was about to get ready to be an eyesore. So I painted the grain bins all the way to the shops. Make everything look nice and nice for the community. And for Miss Hatcher, I don't even know where she stay at. I mean, they got so much property they got, and with them, you can't even kill a deer. If somebody kill a deer, they want to know how big it is. I don't deer hunt, but my nephews do, and all them deer hunt. But if I'm going to tell her right now, if I killed a deer, if it got 2 buttons at the top of the head, if it's deer season, I got my license, I'm going to lay him down. I don't deer hunt. But, I mean, if that's my first deer I killed, it ain't none of nobody's business what they done on their property.
That didn't have anything to do with this.
Yeah, I know, but I just addressed it. But I want to make sure that I respect, what the point is, I want to make sure that I respect my neighbors, and I'm not here to cause any problems. And I'm not going to cause any problems if it's approved. And just like I said, it's been something, Ryan might not know about it, but it's been something that's, since I've been a kid, that's the reason why the middle section got built. Because just like I said, my mama didn't want to walk back and forth in the dark to clean up the place down there after she got finished, after the event or something like that happened. And that's the reason why the middle section got built. So she been dead since 1999, so a lot can be done forgot between that point and then. That's all I got.
All right, thank you, Mr. Now, this is spokesman, y'all got 5 more minutes if you've got to say, if you'd like to say anything else. And you don't have to, but you've got it, it's equal time, if you wish to. All right, this is Mr. Ryan Brannon.
Where on the sketch plan is the emergency vehicle route? Has that been provided? And the signage? Where the sign's gonna go?
No.
Is there any emergency vehicle plan in case of any emergency?
Well, many times Daddy done been picked up by the ambulance to come in the long driveway and circle back around.
I mean, I think it was supposed to be provided as part of your conditions.
I didn't see it, but that's the driveway to come in. I mean, he done been picked up, I don't know how many times by the EMS, as long as that driveway, this fire truck can pull it in, pull it back out. 18 bullets can't do it.
Well, I apologize that this got personal with y'all, but, I guess that's where we took it, but, again, I would, if you knew exactly where our properties were on this map, you would understand our concern. And irregardless of whether they live there or not, this could very well diminish property values in the area. If for some odd reason somebody did have to sell a piece of property around it, nobody's gonna wanna buy property that's adjacent to an event center. I mean, it's not where this is at. This is almost in Jenkins County. This is not near Statesboro. It's not, in a close proximity to Portal. We're almost 6 miles out of Portal as the road is, but just understand where our reasoning for being here is. It's too close to the people that do live there to have this. There's no way that this event center is gonna not disturb property owners within 100 foot of a noise ordinance or lights or anything else. So, thank you. I think that's.
And just for your record, there are at least 2 of us who did ride out and walk the property.
Thank y'all. I appreciate
yesterday.
that. So you understand, whoever that was. Thank you.
Exactly. All right, Ms. Hatcher?
Okay, just to respond to a few things Clint said. I think really, honestly, I'm back to bottom line. No matter the number of conditions, I know we were talking about 8 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m., it still is going to negatively impact the neighbors. There's no way around it. There's a pond, it amplifies everything. Ryan, like he said, is a stone's throw from there. It makes no sense. It's not going to work.
How many houses in there?
And the other thing I wanted to mention is he also mentioned the neighboring farms, and he has gone back to that several times. So he'll be, in effect, the fact that we have not cut our trees, the fact that we have maintained a rural environment, he is capitalizing on that. Because what are they paying for to come to an event center? Oh, I don't know. They're paying to come and see the pretty landscape, which Hatcher Sisters Farms in his backyard is providing. So let's keep that in mind. If we all have event centers, which I guess if we set a precedent, there's no going back, we could just all have event centers. We've got our own pond house and we enjoy it and we have our own family gatherings, but that doesn't mean I'm going to start an event center. It's a big difference. Like Ryan said, it is just going to be a disturbance, something we're not used to, and we'd like your support. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, with that, then we'll close again the public portion of this meeting. So is there any discussion from this board? If not, we will entertain a motion of recommendation.
I'm gonna make a motion to deny.
We have a motion to deny. Is there a second? We have a second from Mr. Brannon. All those in favor of denial? That's 3-1. We're going to recommend denial to the county commissioners, but you have until September 2nd to work out some of the issues before we present to them. Thank you, Mr. Levitt. And if there's anyone who would like to leave now, it'd be a good time. You're welcome to stay.
We got about 2 more hours. So
Yeah, you may not want to.
Can we take a quick break before we go to James?
Yeah.
Thanks.
You want to go with this first one?
Yeah, let's finish this.
All right, we'll go on to item number 6. KB Reynolds LLC has submitted an application for a sketch plan to divide 25.27 acres into 21 residential lots with 42 duplex units. The property is located on Old Riggs Mill Road. Ms. Deloach?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So KB Rentals has submitted this sketch plan application to divide 25.27 acres into 21 residential lots. And it is located on Old Riggs Mill Road. And I have a new sketch plan that was provided. I can pass it if y'all want to pass it down. It's not in the staff report, but it's in the PowerPoint. Yeah, that's fine.
This is the sketch plan we're voting on?
Yeah.
All right.
So here it is on the map, and it shows it is west of Statesboro, right above Register. And it is within the natural open space character area. Here is the zoning map, which shows it is zoned Ag 5, and it has an R3 and an R2 as the adjacent properties.
Can I interrupt you before you said it was zoned Ag 5? I'm assuming it's zoned something else.
I'm sorry, it's zoned R3.
Okay.
The map's just not updated yet. Excuse me. And then here's an aerial of the parcel. This is the updated site plan, and I have it pulled up, so you're good. And everybody should have a copy, and the staff does recommend approval of the sketch plan.
All right, Mr.
With
Cody
conditions.
Rogers, be acting as agent.
Hey, how are y'all? Cody Rogers, EMC Engineering. This is pretty straightforward. This board saw the rezoning application come through last September, October-ish. I think we finished the rezoning in December of last year. And this is just, of course, the natural progression of things with the sketch plan. We do have detention shown on this. We are not proposing any wetland impacts. There is no flood zone as documented by FEMA on this. We are planning a community well site up there at the corner of the property, as you can see. And we have designed this to meet the new county ordinances with sidewalks and curb and gutter and normal crown roads. I'll answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Any questions for Mr. Rogers? And there is no one signed.
Generator on your well.
Oh, we're gonna put a generator on the well system? Has that been officially put in the ordinance, James? I know that's forthcoming. And will,
Well, Board of Commissioners will hear that in September.
so let me ask a question then. Are we grandfathered? I'm not saying that we won't. I'm
just
simply asking procedural. Yeah, it hasn't been discussed, but that's good information to know now, so. Will we be technically grandfathered, or if it comes in, does it follow preliminary plat or sketch plat, or where does it go?
Can we add that condition to the sketch plan?
We could.
I'm trying to think, Jeff,
Can't we legally make it a condition of the sketch plan?
because the subdivision, it would be in the subdivision ordinance. I'm thinking that with the sketch plan approval, that would, I would think you would essentially be grandfathered in from that date, but.
If the ordinance amendment clearly addresses that, we may need to put that in there. I mean, we already got, a little bit of we've got two subdivision ordinances right now. We've got Appendix B and we've got Appendix B1. And B1 is the old ordinance, and it applies to anything for which a sketch plan was approved prior to adoption of the new ordinance. So, I don't know that you necessarily have to grandfather subdivisions that are submitted after. Now, if it was submitted before a certain date and it's in the new ordinance, then it is grandfathered. But this, for example, for something like a generator, I don't know that you have to grandfather it. It may get confusing if you start trying to grandfather multiple.
But can we make it a condition and avoid that? And make it a condition of the approval?
Yeah, I guess you could.
Okay. And I got a question for you, Cody. Does this,
But it is.
does the current sketch plan meet the condition one, the 140-foot diameter and the 100-foot diameter with a right-of-way of diameter of 140 feet?
Yes, actually, Mary brought that up to our attention last week,
Cool.
and we addressed that.
Thanks.
And I'll say that the purpose of that is that the county just got a new ladder truck, and so there's, we've actually amended in the text of the ordinance, or what we're proposing, that would track along with that, so that the ladder truck will be able to turn around. Before, they didn't have one as large, so.
Any other questions for Mr. Rogers? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve with a second condition of a backup generator for the well.
We have a motion, second from Mr. Lane. All those in favor? That's unanimous. There's no one to oppose. So with the added condition of a backup generator, you've got your sketch plan,
Okay.
Mr. Rogers.
Thank you all.
Okay. We have two text amendments we need to briefly go over, but I've been requested to ask for a 5-minute break. So if you'll be back in here in 5 minutes. Betsy, are you okay?
I'm doing all right, yeah. Charles got me the trash cans.
Well, there used to be when the previous chairman said there was a little thing here you could put in. It's not here anymore.
It was a sky.
Read it. And we have a quorum up here, so we can address it. Minutes per amendment. Mary, set the clocks.
Time limit.
Start his time.
Yeah, no doubt.
We're 2 minutes already over.
But for those in the audience, we have reviewed these amendments the last meeting lengthily, very much in length.
And you could watch it on.
And you can watch it in the
World Wide
replay
Web,
next
so.
morning.
And Jody, I think we're safe if you want to go. I said, I think we're safe if you want to leave.
You want to hear it?
All right. So I will keep it brief let's see, who all was here last month? I can't.
Everybody was here but me, I think, or Matthew and Matt.
Yes, that's
No,
right.
you weren't here.
Me, Mr. Schubert.
Okay, I was thinking maybe, okay. So, first off, I'll just ask, well, let me introduce myself. I'm James Pope, Planning and Development Director for Bulloch County. This zoning item for consideration is a text amendment to the subdivision regulations for Bulloch County. We heard this case last month, in which I wanted to, give ample time for those in the community to review any of the text amendments that we put forward. So thank you all for deferring it into this month. And really, I haven't had any comments on this. And I would just like to ask, do y'all have anything that y'all have thought about in the last month that the only change I made was for the design requirements of a cul-de-sac, which mirrors the 100-foot and 140-foot diameter, 100-foot being the pavement requirement, so that that would be an increase from, I believe, 60.
And as you stated previously, that's to accommodate the new ladder truck.
Correct. The purpose there is the new ladder truck that the fire department got, so.
And I still bring up, y'all, that will accommodate school buses, but a lot of these subdivisions, buses can't go in because of the cul-de-sac size on these.
Oh, right, sure. Yeah, the existing ones, we don't have a good, yeah, right. So moving forward, I think they'll definitely have a benefit there. And that was pretty much it for the subdivision regulation addition since last month. I would say a highlight in the text amendment, we have some illumination standards for streetlight districts. And then for the community water systems, those water systems would have to provide a backup generator for the entire system so that it could operate, not to necessarily revisit what we talked about last month, but I think this is at least a good first step. We may have to refine this requirement if there's, in the event that we have a power outage for a week, that's probably going to be, hopefully few and far between, but there are challenges with our electrical grid just nationwide, so power outages do seem to be more common. We do require underground utilities in subdivisions so that, a line within the subdivision does, your overhead lines, they're not there, they're underground, and you don't have to worry about a tree falling on them within the subdivision, but leading up to the subdivision, there's, potential there. So anytime we have the opportunity to mitigate some of those hazards, we try to do that, and I think that's what that does. So with that, do y'all have any other questions, concerns, or?
Can you tell me where you came up with 25, like why we're not requiring it for a 10 unit on a community well? I'm just curious of the reasoning.
Sounded good, I guess. No, the other counties that we looked at, some in Florida, some Lowndes County, it seemed to be 25 was a consistent number. I think that 25, the minimum for a water system is 11. So, I think that number could go down if y'all thought that it was too high.
Well, for
If you don't
consistency
require a community
purposes,
water system, it ought to have a generator on it.
I
Don't
think
put it
that-
on any of them.
I think it needs to go down to 11 where it's required.
Yeah, that's what I think. We're seeing a lot more.
Okay, so the 25 number, where it says new or expansions of existing community water systems by a cumulative total of 25 ERUs.
Page 44,
So,
by the way.
it's page 44. That intent there is that any new community water system would have to have it, which would be 11 lots. Or if you ever, put a condition on a rezone. But that, any new system or expansion by 25.
Okay. New or expansion
Or
of existing
expansion.
community
So
water.
if you're expanding by 25. So, if you have a commercial property that is expanding and they're adjacent to a community water system, they're going to account for several more, a commercial entity may account for several more ERUs. So, that might, I think 25 is a,
So the ordinance covers 11 and up on these new tiny subdivisions that are popping up everywhere.
correct.
All right, thanks.
And EPD has the requirements at a certain number of bedrooms. I think it's 15, which roughly goes out to 11 units. So that's why EPD really doesn't regulate a community water system below that 15-bedroom number or 11 lots, basically. So, and how they do their math on calculating how many people live in that, I don't have it in front of me, but so that's why our community water system number is where it is, but I guess, but it is available by condition in our ordinance. So,
Only question I have.
All right, are there any questions? If not, we'll need a motion or recommendation.
Motion to approve as written.
Is there a second? It's second for Mr. Lane. All those in favor? Recommend approval of the text amended on September 2nd, I guess. All right, then we'll go on to an item
Sure.
number 8.
all right.
We got 2 number 8s. Is there a reason for that?
Number 8, agenda item number 8 is a text amendment to the zoning ordinance, Appendix C. And in here, I tried to introduce some zoning amendments that, or
All right, Adam has 2 number 8.
some of the text amendments that, I guess the definitions are, kind of clarify some of the things like townhomes. We didn't really have a good definition for a townhome versus condo and different things. So,
Which are becoming more prevalent every day.
yeah, so we're getting, the only mention in our ordinance was in the PUD section. So anyway, it helps us administratively. And other definitions include the go-kart, ATV, and the trails, ATV trails. I mentioned last month about the microbreweries, brew pub, and large brewery. The next day, I saw an article from GMA about breweries, and there's it's a continued. There's a big economic driver with those, but we have no immediate interest out in the community for it. It's just something that 10 years ago was a big push by craft breweries to provide, kind of commercial event space type experience where you get to sample the beverages on site and things like that. So that's where that definition came from, just rooted in probably the eventual interest that would be something in these highway commercial or light industrial zones. Here, the next one, amending the condition or the use chart in Ag 5 for a conditional use of a go-kart, ATV, and motorbike track and trails, which we do have some supplemental standards in following that.
I have a question on that before you move on.
Okay.
On Friday and Saturday nights, you go until 11 p.m. and it can be within 20 feet of property line, I think. 20 feet of property boundary.
Okay.
If you live close to that, that's gonna be very aggravating to somebody. And my other question on that was emergency vehicle access. 'Cause if you're doing these trails and you get a bunch of people in there and there's an accident, how are emergency vehicles gonna get to them?
And I'd like to play devil's advocate on top of that.
Okay.
Why can you go to 11 in this, but in the previous number 5, we're only allowing that to 10 o'clock? And dirt bikes are going to be significantly louder than a wedding venue.
True.
Just out of consistency is,
Okay, so 11 PM is,
if we're,
Too late.
yeah, if we're limiting to 10 on a wedding venue, I think this should be no later than that.
One of them is great.
Well, what am I saying?
Yeah, I mean, if we're limiting wedding venues to what you can hear within 100 feet,
right.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear a dirt bike more than I don't want to hear a wedding venue.
Music's a lot more pleasant than those motors.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I brought it here. So,
My two concerns was that, and if you're 20 feet,
yeah,
on the
Just-
property line and the house is 20 feet on the other side of it, you're 40 feet, where on
that's true.
the wedding venue, you're 100 feet. So you could even be closer to this.
And we require 50 feet in buffer and subdivision.
You'll think something like 100 foot would be,
I just think we'd be
150.
consistent.
yeah.
I think it needs to at least be 50 feet, the same way a subdivision is, because you can't stop some kid from riding his four-wheeler in the backyard. So you could potentially hear that anyway, and I definitely think we need to drop it down to 10 instead of 11.
10 PM.
Yeah, 10 PM, yeah.
And that's just Friday and Saturday.
Right. No,
1
Sunday
hour-
through
1
Thursday,
hour
no later than-
sunset every other night.
right.
Yeah. And then what about emergency vehicle access? We're not making them have any type of special. And when you build a subdivision, you gotta have emergency access.
Yeah.
We're gonna allow them, and say somebody
know how
puts
you-
in a 400-acre tract, I mean, you could have a child or an adult injured and couldn't hardly get to it.
Point in question, when Everett Kennedy had his accident, and they had to go in with a truck, the tractor had to go in with a truck and carry him out in a truck to get to the emergency vehicle.
And he wasn't that far.
Right, yeah, that's true.
What's Pembroke's ordinance say, just out of or Bryan County's, just out of curiosity, because they've got that Savage Trails Park or whatever it is over there. Is that where you, that's Bulloch? Yeah. Is it, they're meeting all this stuff already?
I'm sorry.
Are they going to 11 now over there?
I think they go to about 5 AM,
Okay.
based on complaints we get. But, so, I did look at Effingham. Effingham has a similar ordinance on this, and I think, I won't say this word for word, but, it looked at what they did and kind of mirrored that and maybe another one, but, I'm not, right here tonight, I don't know about, I haven't thought through the emergency vehicle access into large properties like that. I think
Without
in
holding
some,
up, yeah,
I don't know how, yeah.
without holding up for the county commission in September 2nd, is there some time between now and then that you could maybe determine if there are, and other counties have emergency procedures? And we can add that in.
Talk to the emergency.
Yes, ma'am.
management.
Would y'all want to defer this until the next?
Or number 8, just item number 8. Just item number 8.
Just item.
I mean, that's fine with me.
Is that-
Some things I want to discuss too with James.
I'm good with that.
I don't want to get bogged down in it.
Yeah, I think that would be,
I think that's a good idea.
all right, if that's the case, we'll entertain a motion.
Do we want to let them continue on?
Do you want to go and
If there's
continue
anything
on, or
else we
just
want to
wait?
change?
Because he'll have to go, he'll have to go
Yeah.
through it again, though. He'll have to go,
Yeah, but then you have to change it again.
anything else? Well, all
I'm
right.
trying to go high level here, so
All right.
I don't know if I'm doing good, but, okay, so I've noted the concern there. And I'll talk with the fire department and EMA and see what, what's possible.
You can let the chairman fly in on his helicopter. Might be the only way to get back.
Can't land them in pine trees.
Well, that's true, but I don't see how you could, if you're talking about something like this, I mean,
I think it
you
needs
have
to
to
be
build
looked.
a roadway around the whole thing.
Well, you could have,
I don't see how that.
you could have some
A designated spot or something that,
roads that were
Maybe so.
accessible.
Or some, people are doing that too at their own risk.
That's right.
Yeah, but we got to haul them out if they get hurt.
Yeah, but they understand that it's a risky.
well, we could just see if other places have any kind of contingencies for that.
And I've been on one where somebody got hurt bad, so I understand.
Yeah.
We were an hour and a half from EMS.
Yeah.
All right, so, yeah, we'll look at that. The next section, we're just having some amendment and, I guess some additions to, the church supplemental standards. Primarily, before the parsonage was not, it was unclear whether or not a parsonage would, being that it's a single-family dwelling, if that would be part of the church use or not. So this would include that as a allowed by accessory dwelling on a church, if there's a church use. So that is really what that amendment is about. The next one, 1404, accessory dwellings, we would just make accessory dwellings available countywide. Well, not countywide, Ag 5, R80, R40, and R25 zonings. We have, as I mentioned last month, pool houses that they come in and you know what it's going to be, but if they call it a pool house, you end up with a secondary small house with a bedroom, like a guest house or whatever. This would really just let us permit it and inspect it as a dwelling, essentially, that would be permitted. So, and it's been something a lot of communities have been going to nationwide, and I think it could be not a end-all solution, but it would aid in some of our housing issues that we have in this community. Be able to have mother-in-law suites above a garage or whatever. So that's the primary driver for that, is if you wanted a mother-in-law suite or whatever. So.
But that's gonna be totally different from our ordinance. It says we have to have at least 900 square foot.
Well, the accessory, there's a scale there. It would have to be 750 square feet. And then depending on the size of the house and the zone, it could go up to 1,200 or 1,500 square feet. So.
The size of a new starter home?
400,000.
But it's tied to the percent, or your primary structure square footage. So if you have 1,200 square feet, you can't go over 60% of that.
Of the main
Of
structure.
the main primary structure. So that's where you get, if it's 975 square feet primary, then, your 750 is
Well, that makes sense.
is gonna prevail there, so. The next is a home occupation residential supplementary standard. Really just talking about truck deliveries, spelling out kind of what was intended previously, kind of spells it out, something administratively helps for me.
Well, that came up to us several months ago about truck deliveries and
Yep, it did.
That's still very broad. I mean, you could have a 40-foot box truck, single, or one set of dual tires on the back, and you could have one with 3 sets of
And most food deliveries do have those different size trucks.
Might wanna tweak that a little bit when you're talking as customary. I mean, what's customary to me and customary to you is two different things.
So, the delivery of domestic mail, basically post office and packages, so like a UPS truck. But that's the intent, but y'all, if y'all can tell me how y'all think it would be clearer for,
Well, the only other case we've really had come up is that food truck for
Correct.
Big Dog, yeah. Ivy Miller.
I don't think it's a big deal, but
But, it was concerning to the neighbors.
but
trucks less than 40 feet, single axle, rear axle. I mean, you could put a lot of different things, you know. A UPS or a delivery truck like that is gonna have, is basically a box, a step van type truck. But when you
which
get
I think would be
into-
okay, by this.
Yeah, I would think would be
When you
fine.
get into your furniture trucks delivered, they're using, probably 20 foot, 24 foot,
Minimum of 20 foot.
Mine came by semi.
cab chassis box trucks, so. But you're dealing
Yeah.
mainly with food trucks here, delivering food products or supplies. So, just
Okay,
something to think on.
all right, I've got it marked. The next section was architectural requirements within subdivisions, including single-family and two-family dwellings. And basically having a list of items, well, trying to get away from some of the appearances that, where you just build the same house over and over and over. This would require and spell out, how many times or every two houses, or, let's see. Every three houses, yeah, I wanna make sure I'm saying that right. So every three houses, you could use the same, facade. But, like, right now, I think you're seeing some that are every other house.
So you can build a subdivision with 4 house plans.
Right. And then this limits, front elevation design. You can't use it anymore, than, like you said, with four house plans or 25% of the, single phase of development. So, yeah, if you just have to plan it out as a developer, you have, you know, how many lots you've created, and you just, you know, have to do some due diligence and plan it out accordingly. But we do check in our office too, so just to make sure we're not getting the same one over and over.
I got a question on the bottom of that on, you only using architectural grade roof shingles. What about, it's under L, what about where they do like copper trim and stuff like that? You gonna only let them put shingles, or you gonna let them put copper trim?
Combination. Or
No-
some
no
put
metal
metal, yeah,
roofs.
some put metal, eaves, and I just,
Let's, I just wanna make sure,
This is under front facade, so that's the actual front face of the house, not the roof line, correct?
not the roof. Is
Yeah, it's just the front
Correct.
face of the house.
Right, yes, so from the roof line down.
But even on the roof, a lot of them, they put copper in places to accent. Just don't want to build a box too small.
Okay, so I could,
A builder or something, get some
I know exactly what you're talking about, where
Yeah.
if you have a bay window or
They're
something and it
accent,
comes
and they have a
over,
little
yeah.
accent, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we could provide that as, basically this would be an incentive, or it's on the list, but, you know, you don't have to provide the architectural grade roof shingles, but it could be one of your points that you build up to 6. So, like I say, if we're really incentivizing side-loaded or court entry garages, which is 2 points, whereas others are counted as 1 point. But if, and I know what you're saying, and so, I can come up with something with, I'll have to do my homework on that one as to what I exactly need to call it, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
With a copper accent roof. And I'm not saying, copper generally, not limiting it to
Don't
copper,
put
but
it
I
in
know what
copper,
you're saying.
because a lot of these people put metal accents. They can't afford to put a metal roof, so they're putting just small accent pieces.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it looks good.
It looks real good.
Yeah.
But no metal roofs. What did I say?
No, it's the front facade, so you can't put metal on the front of your house for,
That way.
yeah, that's right. That's what you're saying, correct?
Correct.
All right.
So we look at wall finishes, material, foundation walls, where that would have to be a brick, stone, manufactured stone. The level of the first finished floor elevation for the entire perimeter of the home. Whereas in the past, they've really tried to do just the front facade and leave the other 3 as just kind of a knockdown stucco look. But this would require brick, stone, or manufactured stone on the bottom.
That's on 18 inches, right?
And then, so if there's a slab on grade construction, which typically is a lower level home, is on grade almost, bring up that brick, stone, or manufactured stone to 18 inches from the, exposed 18 inches. So, I don't know if 18 inches is, it seemed reasonable.
Still, it's reasonable. It's still, it's not very visible, but still it's
Right.
more than
Yeah.
are we saying a minimum of 18 inches, or can you give
At
us?
least, yes.
At minimum, okay.
You're on number 5.
I was on 5, yeah.
All right, can we go back to 3
3, okay.
and add PVC siding to number 4, because that's a new product. It looks exactly like vinyl, but it's made out of PVC.
Okay.
Or check it out, and then let me know what you think.
And, where the barn dominiums fall in this?
Well, this is subdivision, so.
It's only subdivision.
Yeah,
We don't have any barn dominium
Right.
subdivisions.
There's a new PVC product that has like 50-year warranty, and
And doesn't
some people are
expire.
going to it, so just something to look at.
Okay.
There was a convention about 4 years ago.
Windows have an exterior wall requirement. So on the front wall, you'd have to have at least 13% of the area of the wall. So that's a common number when you look at some of the window requirements. I don't know why 13% was the most common requirement.
But these
other than-
figures, how outdated are these figures? With these new developers coming in, what we're seeing now for us?
Saying that's, are you suggesting that's low?
No, I'm suggesting, I wonder how it compares. If, new developments come in, what are they trying to do? Because they're gonna cut every corner they can.
They're still doing vinyl for the most part.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, you've seen some houses that have not a window on the entire side. Don't you have to have that egress?
Well, correct. You are seeing certain house plans that have no windows on the sides. And I think that was really the motivator behind this, is that you don't see that blank wall there. So there would be the window requirement, as well as if under certain circumstances you felt like you could not place a house in close proximity to the other one without catching your neighbor's house on fire with the sun and the window reflection. So that's the common argument. You'd have to place a false window on the side, basically on the side. And that could be done any number of ways. Next item was garage doors, trying to, a lot of house plans have a projecting garage door out front, and then it's, it could be a safety issue if you have a long, narrow corridor into a front door. And as well, it just kind of, I think the look, or the kind of the upgraded look that we would be going for there is really just that you don't pull up to the house and see the garage sticking out at you as much as accenting on the front door and focus on the front door and the porch. So any questions on those architectural features? Next item, talking about microbreweries and brew pubs. And some standards that would follow in section 14. So the scale of a microbrewery and brew pub is considered there for, appropriately in the chart, the use charts, by going with this. You do have some additional control with a conditional use for, in the highway commercial zone.
James, why are we adding all that? Because we don't have to amend the alcohol ordinance to
Right, so we'd have to accommodate,
them to be licensed.
right.
Is that just?
Well, there's no real driving force behind it other than, like I said, 10 years ago, there was, I meant to bring the statistic, but I think there's about a little less than 500 of the microbreweries in Georgia. And I can see where eventually in some of our highway commercial zones, that would be an interest of, there would be something like that wanting to come here. Felt like if we went ahead and got some standards in there, it's easier to do it now than before somebody comes in and makes their own text amendment, and then
Be proactive about it.
If they pass this, we'll need to
okay.
deal with alcohol.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure I did that. And I think there's a push by the microbrewery lobby at the state to try and figure out a different tier structure for how they regulate. There's 3 tiers: a large brewery like you'd have, what is it? One down in Albany is Coors Light, or whatever the name is. Anyways, Albany has a really large regional brewery. That's not what this would be. This would be something kind of like on Savannah Avenue, or Eagle Creek
Oh, yeah.
Brewery, something like that. We just don't have that in the county, so where they can make it on site and have a tasting room. Okay, so moving forward, the last item is a conservation subdivision amendment. I think after we talked last month, and conservation subdivision regulations being the fact that if you have 15 acres in an Ag 5 zone. And you could take today and split that into 5 acres, 5 acre lots, total of 3 lots. This is just easy math for me to do in public. But so what this would allow, if your 15 acres was on in proximity to public sewer, you could then by right take your lot and develop it at I forget the lot sizes here, I think 16,000 square foot. No, well, Ag 5 will go to 85,000 square foot minimum. So you're kind of like automatic, you're allowing them to go basically to an R80 zone on public sewer and then protecting the remaining portion of the acreage in perpetuity with a conservation easement. So this would only be available where public sewer, because where that's available, because you're really not going to see much of a reduction or a benefit if you can go to Ag 5 down to R40 or something like, or R25, where there's still a lot of land left to protect if you can go a little smaller on the sewer. And so there's a balance in what's a lot size appropriate for area proximity. So you'd have smaller lot sizes for sure, but what you get is a total number of houses, whether it's on 100 acres or, again, I'm not good at math in public, but, however many you could do just by right in Ag 5, you can do just on smaller lots and preserve the remaining acreage.
But this is
With-
pertaining mainly to public, to attaching to public sewers, not individual.
Not the
septic
community
tanks.
septic systems, it's the public sewer.
So
Be public.
that would give any developer, basically if he buys land that abuts the city and he can get access to city sewer and water, then he can just automatically, without having to rezone, he can do a conservation subdivision by right without coming in here.
Right, there's no rezone required, but there is a sketch plan requirement to come in here.
Sure.
Because you're creating a subdivision.
And what percentage can he develop? Say it's 100 acres for some easy math.
When you divide it by 5.
Yeah, do 50%. Well, so there's 2 ways to calculate how many lots you can do. And that's, on page 15, where you determine the lot yield. And you would come in with a theoretical number where you put out, just like the plans you see today, come in and you have, you have to account for the road and the wetlands and all that. But you come in and assuming that it's not, some egregious error or something just on its face false. I mean, it'd have to be something, a yield plan that is reasonable. That would tell you how many lots you could do, and then based on your current zoning, and then you take that number and take your new lot size and develop it how it needs to be. But there's some ways in here, design standards, that it's not just one street with a cul-de-sac. That's not the intent. It's the appeal of being in a rural setting, because you don't want to have, you want to leave as much land intact, but some of the subdivisions you could have a good many lots. So it really takes a design professional to go through and design something that's kind of meeting these standards. Yes, they do, if they're adjoining properties. But I think this would be something that, again, it doesn't matter to me if whatever the county decides they want to do in water and sewer. But this is a way that other counties, and it's, I think y'all probably sat through some of the talks as well. But some of the counties have used this as a tool to preserve land forever. And, you know, that's,
Does anybody discuss, because it seems to me like that's going to affect that land basically off the tax stuff, I
It does.
guess.
It does.
Yeah.
Because a developer's not gonna continue to own that land with the liability of it being open to the public. So it's gonna come out
Yeah,
of the tax.
well, even if it's on the digest, it's not going to have much value. Right.
well, I think that,
I guess that wouldn't be a concern unless you got a lot of them.
yeah, and again, I think you have to set priorities for the community, and that does not necessarily lie with me, but it is mentioned throughout the comprehensive plan that conservation subdivisions should be considered.
If we get the water and sewer down in the I-16 corridor area, this would be something then that they could utilize.
That's right.
And I reckon I went to sleep, but on page 13, it says under the limits of disturbance, it says no clearing or grading shall be permitted in the primary or secondary conservation area. How you gonna do this if you don't clear or grade? Am I missing the point?
In the conservation areas,
On page 13, under 4, limits of disturbance. No clearing or grading shall be permitted in the primary or secondary conservation area with the following.
yeah, so that would be the preserved land. So if you have,
So you take out the 80,000 area.
Go to
You're
page,
gonna be building trails through there for people to walk on and stuff like that. So you're gonna have to.
Do some grading.
I know if you go to page 14, it does help illustrate a little bit
Yeah.
what a conservation,
Kind of,
yeah.
well, I think you have to, they qualify what is the conservation areas. So it may be that your trail area is not considered in that, you know, in that
Disturbance area.
particular area. So you're looking for larger pieces of the property, and you would just kind of count that out from your total of preserved property. Right, so I think the intent there is not to limit, not to say you can never walk on the property or, you know, it's just an amenity really for, to get people out into the nature and rural areas. And so it's just really clustering houses, and saving some of the property. So I think you'll see a greener type of development. You'll, but again, it's, well, and I think too, as on page 14, the illustration shows, right now, they cut out, a development will cut out wetlands and go to an individual lot. And then there's, we get complaints all the time of homeowners that have gone in and cleared out the, or worked in the wetlands when they shouldn't have. So this would, they wouldn't have any title to a wetland. They're preserving that. And, again, it's being protected. I don't, yes, there's a more dense cluster that would be created by the number of houses. However, because it would be on public sewer, you're not adding to the density that's already in the area. You're just, you know, and I think in the past 10, 15 years, this has been a useful tool. Some communities in Georgia have used it, pretty successful. Other communities I've talked to, they said they have it on the books, but they're just not really utilized. But I do think it would be something, a tool in the toolbox to have in place that, you know, we could, may alleviate some concerns with rezoning so many properties if they can get smaller lots and make it cost efficient to develop a house. But then you're, you know, again, it's all a trade-off. And, but since the last meeting, I changed it to where it would be a by right, a permitted use in the zoning categories, so that I think you're gonna get more developers to use this type of design if you don't have to go to a rezoning just to get a conservation subdivision approved. If it meets all the qualifications and it's not really increasing the density, then it's my belief that you should be able to go ahead and develop at the density of the zone, and you're providing some open space for the county, so. You have any questions for me? And we can defer this until next month.
I'll make a motion to defer it with all the things we've given you.
Okay. How many we
We've
got
called
next
for a
month?
motion, we have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, that's unanimous to defer it to
One other thing I forgot to bring up, last time we talked about the fences on the
Type of fence.
on the cycle, the ATV thing had to be fenced in. We talked about some definition of fencing, if you remember to look at that.
I had a brief conversation about that. I think Mary and I did. But I will make a note to revisit that as well.
in your spare time.
So, how many do we have next month? 4.
Oh, okay.
Appreciate that.
4.
4.
Oh, applications for next month.
Gives me more time.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, then we will hear it then. If there is no other item that needs to be brought up, we need to move to adjourn this meeting. Motion to adjourn from Mr. Reiner, second from Mr. Lane. All those in favor? This meeting is adjourned.
Hey.